taste. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, my friend, Gerardo Alarcon.
Hello, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great. I am, it's an early morning, even though it's noon. And I'm here ready to record, dude. I'm ready to fucking get into it.
I've been getting up. This is my normal get up time on a weekend now. I want it to be this way, but I've been getting up at like 6 a.m. On average the past couple weeks. So this is very strange to me to be like as fully awake as I am at noon on a Sunday.
I thought I wanted to be that way, but I realized because I started waking up at like 3 o'clock every day, like 3 p.m. And I would just edit all night and then fall asleep late. But then I was like, dude, I just don't feel normal, you know? I want to wake up earlier. So I try to be waking up at like 6:37. And then I stayed up till like 3 a.m. last night in Santa Monica and woke up late.
Oh, dude, I was working in Santa Monica. I wish I'd known. I could have spent, I could have commiserated with you after I got off from my hellish shift.
Yeah, we were at the 3rd Street Promenade. I got kicked out of a bar for telling somebody to go fuck themselves. Yeah. I mean, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It was last night. It was funny, but they didn't find it funny. Anyways.
Hey, we didn't come to talk about getting kicked out of bars. We came to talk about a movie that you hated that I'd never heard of. Gueros.
Yes. Gueros. Yes. It's a Mexican made film that's in black and white, has an artistic aspect ratio.
Yeah, Academy ratio.
Yeah, it's been the talk of the town because it's Zack Snyder. And I watched this movie, and you know, it's one of those cases where it was sold to me as something else, and it did fulfill that promise. But at the same time, I just did not give a shit about the movie when I was watching it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how you start this. Do you just keep talking about the movie?
Well, what I'm most intrigued by is it's a movie that I doubt a lot of people who listen to this. There's probably a subset of people who are up to speed on, you know, a little foreign films that are a little bit more obscure. You know, I feel like a lot of people in American film markets know about they know Parasite, they know Roma, but they don't know the movies that won the Mexican Oscars, right? They didn't know that this won Best Picture. They've never heard of Alonso Ruiz Palacios, who's the director of this movie. And I'd never heard of it. And then you mentioned you hated it. And I was like, all right, I'm intrigued. How did you hear about this movie? Like, how was it presented to you?
So in November, I had got coronavirus. So I was at home, you know, quarantined for 3 weeks. And I was watching all these old school, you know, Blood In, Blood Out, Stand and Deliver, La Familia, or Mi Familia, all these old Chicano movies that I had already seen. I just wanted to refresh my memory. And then a friend of mine told me to watch Gueros, Dominic Angel. I don't know if you know Dominic.
Oh,
Angel.
yeah, I know Dominic.
He suggested to me that I watch Gueros. And I said, oh, that's awesome. Where do I find it at? And he told me that I need an online library card to get it from Canopy.
Yes.
And I gave him the hardest time in the world about getting a fucking library card, dude. And I refused. I refused to get a library card. And now it's May. It was the week after Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
I got a library card because me and my girlfriend were in Big Bear watching Ex Machina, and it was on Canopy. And I love that movie. That movie's great. We're not here to talk about that. No, but so I got the library card, and I told Dominic, now's your chance. Let's, you know, come over Saturday. We'll watch Gueros. And he was like, dude, it's the best movie of all time. It's like a road trip film. You know, it's about these Mexicans these brothers, which I'm a sucker for brother movies. Like I am too. I have a little brother that's 13 years younger than me.
Okay.
So I was like, it sounds like right up my alley. You know, it's two brothers that go to visit their favorite artist, basically their favorite musical artist, one that they connect with a lot. And it's like he's hyping this movie up like it's some crazy road trip film, you know? And yeah, it just wasn't that. But that's how I came to watch it, basically.
Interesting. Okay, so yeah, and I mean, if you've never seen it, listening audience, that Gerardo just did basically a great sum up of the movie. It's sort of a road trip movie, but not really. It's got definitely a lot of art filmy elements to it. Besides, the black and white and the Academy ratio of it all, there's a lot of stuff with the sound design that's very abstract. There's a lot of stuff with the script. There's some breaking the fourth wall meta scenes that happened right in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of elements to this movie that makes it feel very unconventional, but also like not unconventional.
Yeah.
And I watched it literally I finished it about an hour ago. It was the first thing I did when I got up this morning. And there were parts that I really liked, but there were parts that I was and parts that I was captivated by. But there were also parts where I was like, all right, well, move it fucking along then.
Yeah, dude. Cut out. Like, if this was an hour to an hour and a half long movie, I think I would be able to enjoy it a little bit more. The whole point of the movie is to lower your expectations, which is not a great thing to have for a movie that is sold to you in such a grandiose way. Mm-hmm. Like, it becomes meta in that way where even when you're complaining about the movie to somebody that likes it, they're telling you like, well, that's the point of it. So really you like it, you know? Right. It's like your expectations were too high of this movie. You have to lower your expectations. And to be honest with you too, I was very upset when I first saw the movie, right? Only because it was sold to me in such a way, you know? So
if somebody says it's the best movie of all time, that's a hard bar to clear. Well,
especially when you're talking about Blood In, Blood Out, like Mi Familia, like these movies are like cultural, iconic movies in the Latino community. Mm-hmm. And when you're like, oh, dude, to top that off, you got to finish with Gueros, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And for me to, come from that place where I'm like, all right, well, those were great movies. Let me watch this one too then. And then for it to just kind of fall flat for me personally. The beginning, the kid gets sent to his brother's house because he's dropping water balloons on people. Like the stakes are very low to start the film.
Yes. And that's he drops it on a baby. This is pretty rude.
Baby, but still, like, who cares? Like, the community will laugh about that. I feel like, I don't know. I don't live in a small Mexican town, maybe. Well, it's just like an indicator. It's one of those like script things where they're showing how mischievous the character is. And this is the last straw. This is how crazy he is at dropping a water balloon on two walking patrons. One of them's a baby. Yes. But that he would drop that water balloon on them, and that would cause him to have to move south to DF, to his crazy brother. Yeah. But you brought up something really good though. The sound design bothered me. Like,
really?
Yeah. Did you like it at parts?
The first part of the movie with him scooping the water balloon out of the bucket.
Yeah.
And that sound cue, I was like, I don't know about this because it's really obviously pitched up and not what happened in the scene. That took me out immediately. But then as soon as and also I really wanted to hear the song that they all kept listening to. But the first time when they didn't play it, I was like, all right, maybe we'll hear it later. And then as it came on, I was like, oh, this is a choice that I kind of respect, that we're never going to hear what the song that these brothers love so much is. And that is sending all of these people who listen to it into like a trance of just eyes closed joy in a car.
Complete love with the music.
Mm-hmm. With the guy, with the musician who's a fucking asshole, by the way.
Yeah.
He's so shitty. At the very end of the movie, they go and they finally find this folk musician who they've been trying to find. And he's an old asshole in a bar who throws this tape that this kid has spent this whole time trying to be like, I just want you to sign this tape.
Yeah.
And he throws it on the ground. He's like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing in my house? Piece of shit.
And
Fuck
then
that guy.
his brother goes into a long-winded speech about the whole trip they went on, and he's still just like he just is falling asleep, which is kind of the punchline to the scene.
Yeah,
but it also makes you feel like I wasted my time watching this fucking movie, in a sense.
That's what you felt like watching it after when that scene happened.
A little bit. A little bit.
Okay.
Only because it was so long. Like there was that gas station scene that didn't need to happen. Like I don't really think it moved any part of the plot forward.
Oh yeah. All it did was show like, oh yeah, we're gonna meet these people later on at this movie premiere.
Yeah. It made no sense to me that they would make all these little stops and make them so long, I don't know. Just chop it up more. Just chop up in editing. Like, let's make it move, dude. Let's make it move forward. And then you can have the old guy sleep, and it'll be kind of funnier than it was.
I think it sounds like you and I have some similar beef with the movie. Shout out to your other beef related podcast.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I'm definitely feeling a disconnect from like parts that I like that you seem to not like. Like, I think I need a little bit more info on what like, did you, did this movie not really resonate with you, or do you feel like it was just because it was sold in a way where you were like hyped up on it?
Yeah.
And the bar was too high for you to clear. And so because of that, if you watch it again, you're just not going to be able to give it the benefit of the doubt. Like, what's your sitch?
Well, I think that's the way to solve this issue I have with the movie is to watch it again with not as high of expectations. Like, it was literally sold to me off of, I don't know if you've seen Mi Familia, but that movie's amazing.
Tell me about Mi Familia.
Mi Familia follows a family's story, basically. It's like J-Lo. This is like in the 90s. I think it was made in the 90s. Edward James Olmos, J-Lo, like it's basically one family, and you go through like 3 generations of that family. And basically it is more representative of my experience as a Mexican, like in America. Okay. The family comes to America, like the journey of the immigrants of that family. And then the struggles they have in a barrio in like Boyle Heights, basically.
Okay.
Anyway, so it sold to me off of that. This movie did resonate with me. I don't want to act like I hated it all the time, but the whole thing, but like, especially like my favorite part of the movie after watching it was the protest parts where, he's standing up for the woman that's trying to speak to everyone and they're being very machismo in the audience. And I feel like that was a strong message. And I was like, this is necessary when I was watching it, Yeah, I'm with you there. And I did really like that they said it during this, the student protest that happened in 99, which I wish that there was more of that element in the movie. And I guess, part of the story is the fact that this brother is just not, and then his roommate, they're just like avoiding it completely. Yeah.
And just like, they have that car ride scene where it gets meta and they have the clapboard and they have the actor breaking character and being like, yeah, I hate the script's bad. Because you guys are just on the run and you guys are anti-heroes. But around that scene, they sort of really delve into like, you guys are just, you're rotting away in your house. You're not doing anything. And then you're just like acting aggrieved. Yeah. And you're acting inconvenienced, but like, why? You're not even doing anything. Why are you acting like a piece of shit if you're not going to do anything about the situation, instead just sit there? Yeah, so that part was very interesting to me when it was a random guy in the front seat of their car telling them about how shitty the script is. And like you see the clapboard, everything, like that was so interesting to me. I thought for sure we're going to get into some kind of I don't know, climax of the film, or this is going to actually cause something to happen. Like maybe they'd start to change or whatever. But I don't know. And also I was starting to say earlier, but then I went into some rant about what I didn't like. I was explaining this movie to my roommate, Josh. And I at the very end of my explanation, I was like, you know what? I like the movie more now, like in a way it's forcing you not to like it. You know what I mean? It's like meta fucking thing where it's like, you expect so much from a film that has like a high production value and whatnot. Gut reaction is still very strong where I was like, this movie it was a waste of time to me. Not anything against Mexican culture or Mexican cinema,
but just the fact that there was nothing happened. Nothing fucking happened.
So do you feel like because you were so off put by it,
Yeah.
that you will ever be willing to give it another chance? Or are you just stuck with this bad taste in your mouth that you're never going to be able to get over?
I mean, I will watch it again, but not as loud as I watched it. Cause like, I feel like some of the audio cues did not need to be there. I understand the purpose of putting them there, but I feel like the visuals were strong enough to represent those same emotions, you know?
Yeah.
Like when he's sitting in the bed and it's creepy and it's like a slow, pan in to him, and the fucking audio, sorry for cussing, is like,
you can cuss. I don't care.
But you know what part I'm talking about, right? Where he just sits there and it's like, and I literally turned to Dom and I said, "Fuck this movie," because that. I mean, yeah, I know what they're trying to do. I get it. I'm not an idiot. Like it's supposed to be creepy. It's creepy with him just being an insomniac sitting on a bed, and I feel like it would have been a stronger move to just have complete silence. You know, you don't literally hear a high frequency when you can't sleep at night. I don't know, not me personally.
I mean, anytime I can't sleep at night, I don't hear a sound. I just hear like the dull roar of the inside of my head. I don't hear, it's not like a whine. It's just like it's more like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's not it's like the slow gurgle of your brain churning out bad thoughts.
Exactly.
But they had sounds like that in the movie too. I wish that they had put some of those in instead. Maybe that'll work better for you.
Yeah. Personally, not a fan of fucking high frequencies when I have my fucking Roku at 50. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a good point.
Yeah.
I think this movie, I mean, it sounds like this movie was clearly, it hurts your ability to enjoy it if it's sold to you as the best movie of all fucking time.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, this is part of the problem is like, I think part of the reason why I was able to sit there and enjoy it and not fully fall in love with it, but also be like, and be captivated by parts, but not walk away being like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Is because I just came in from a point of like middle of the road and just knowing like somebody doesn't like this movie. Interesting. But like that happened to me when I was in school. You know, I think I've talked about this. I might have to have talked about this on the podcast before, but the first time I remember like actively hating a movie that I was supposed to like, quote unquote, was Lawrence of Arabia. You ever seen Lawrence of Arabia?
I did when I was a young kid in 8th grade.
Okay. That movie I hated so much. I had to watch it for my cinema aesthetics class because it was all like cinematography and editing and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And our professor had us watch a movie as a class every week or every couple days. And we would go to class the next day and we'd talk about it. And he was like, this is classic. It's got like one of the best edits in cinema history with the blowing out the match to the sunset. And it's just the cinematography's great. It's just a great, well shot, epic, well edited. And we went and watched it, and all of us, we watched it without him in the screening room at the school. And after the screening ended, we were like, "What the fuck was that movie? Why does anyone like this thing? It's slow. It's not very well acted. It's just like, what? Why does everybody think this movie is amazing?" And then our professor got so mad at us. He's like, "So what'd you guys think?" And we were like, "That fucking sucked, dude. How dare you?"
What'd you guys think? Fucking sucked, dude.
Fucking sucks, dude. He was he was very upset.
See, like I could watch a movie like 12 Angry Men, and that movie resonated with me for whatever reason. And I watched it like 6 or 7 times in a year. And I enjoy that movie. It's like very slow paced. I like slow paced movies. Like Gueros, I feel like I would like it if I gave it another shot, if I had time to watch it again,
Yeah, but that's the thing is like you don't want to make the time to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's a lot. It's a whole movie. You got to kind of like, you can't really half-ass watching Gueros. You have to really pay attention to it. And the downside that I felt is that like there were definitely times that it demanded my attention.
Yeah.
And I think having the sound design be such an important part of that demand of my attention was a really smart choice on the director's part.
Yeah.
But I also lost interest. And that's bad for a movie that makes you you have to pay attention to enjoy it to its fullest.
Yeah.
Is to have moments that are slow enough that I get detached. I felt anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like they looked at all the art film options and they just checked all the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of like giving me something that I'm familiar with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And also there is topics of this film that I enjoyed delving into, like in my own mind, where like the classism of just words or calling people certain names, like güero. It's it's a big theme of the movie is this class issue they have.
Right.
Even where the film is so meta, the characters in the film are lighter skinned Latinos, which is what they're discussing when they're talking about güeros, you know?
Right.
The Latina in the movie is a light skinned Latina. Mm-hmm. The only darker one is the older brother, you know?
Yeah.
And he gets called a güero too, which, you know, I don't know, whatever. But the discussion of classism in like Mexican, I guess, the country of Mexico, and also like the analogies you can make to America, you know?
Yeah.
We look at people that go to the Academy Awards in a different way than the people that go there look at it, you know?
Exactly.
Everything means so much to them. They have to be perfect. They have to look perfect, and you know, everything has to be exactly right. Everyone's very, very white, you know, like it's all the same things, the same kind of parallels we have.
But the thing is, like, also, you know, especially from a classism perspective,
yeah,
we look at those people very differently, especially when it's a year like this year when they have the Oscars shut down one of the most important transit hubs in the city of Los Angeles for the workers, for the proletariat, who have become inconvenienced by the bourgeoisie, dude.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I was listening to the stuff that happened in this movie, the classism narrative, especially as it relates to this particular student protest and stuff that I was reading about it a little bit after the fact. And I think it's I love that was an element of the story. I do, based on my very rudimentary knowledge of Mexican cinema, especially in the past like decade. There's a lot of stuff that has a class-based narrative is such an important part. You know, like Roma, obviously hugely investigative of class. And there's this new movie out now that I keep seeing everybody talk about. I think it's called New Order. And it's about like a violent worker revolution that gets co-opted by the military in like a dystopian sort of vague future Mexico. And so I think that I appreciate narratives like that being told, but you run the risk of losing people and them checking out of this overtly important thing to be talking about and thing that people should be paying attention to. Yeah. And it's doing, in my mind, a little bit of a disservice to that narrative.
Exactly. It's kind of like glossing over the class thing that they bring up like out of nowhere in the part of the film where they're swimming in the pool at the Mexican film premiere.
Yeah.
Who's going to watch this movie? People that go to the Mexican film premiere. It's like
as they say chamber at the premiere.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to be like, wow, are we really viewed it that way? Like, they're not going to ask each other that. They're going to be like, that's a really good movie. Like, it was, you know, fucking Academy aspect ratio. Like, all the fucking discussions they have at these stupid ass awards parties.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, you know, it's actually, now that I think about it more, when you talked about how you didn't like the gas station scene.
Yeah.
Here's what the gas, now I'm just now realizing it, what the gas station scene symbolizes. This is the people who are at the Mexican premiere who are treating the worker at the gas station like shit just because they feel entitled.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, having stuff like that show up in the movie, sure, it pushes your narrative and advances that message that you're trying to have. But at what cost? Like, if it's a thing that, like, from your perspective, you like that narrative, but you hate that scene for clogging up the movie and not having it be as streamlined.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a tense scene. And if there was some sort of outcome from that scene that kind of, diverted the narrative of the movie, then I would see it as necessary. Yeah, it is an interesting thing, like, but it also brings up more questions than answers. It's like, how did they get in? Like, these guys aren't getting in.
Right.
Like, why aren't you guys really rushing the people in the fucking gas station?
This is a good
Hurry
point.
up. Like a realistic point of view of it. Instead of it's an artistic thing where, there's a door. They're trying to keep the door open. The worker's trying so hard to close it. They're getting made fun of and they don't really respond back to them because maybe there's consequence for that. But it's all these things that are, and it is a mind game. Like, this whole movie is a fucking mind game.
Yeah.
Like, the meta of just the fact that if you don't like it, well, you really like it because that's what you're supposed to not expect anything. You know what I mean? And it did work on me, but my stance is still like, I don't like the movie. And if that's the outcome you wanted, then that's what you got. And that's a successful movie, in my opinion. But I still just did not enjoy, like I said, checking all the art film boxes, black and white, weird ass fucking aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Stills of like historical pictures that are replicated in film, all these things. I did enjoy. My favorite part of the movie, though, was the protesting scenes, or when they were walking through those halls of the school, and just the recreation of what it actually probably looked like at the time.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot to be said for making art that is sort of deliberately alienating to people. And it sounds like that there's a part of you deep inside that wants to have enjoyed this movie. And do you feel like there's a version of this movie, if there's any changes you would make to it? If you're an executive producer and you're like, listen, I didn't like this movie and I see what you're going for, and here's how you make it fit something that's like a little bit more broadly accessible. What do you do to it? What do you feel like would make this movie more in your wheelhouse?
I would make, like I mentioned before, the water balloon thing more of an inciting incident. Maybe he buys a gun. That's enough to send him somewhere else, Or
he's the kid who drops the bricks.
Exactly. I like that parallel, like that fucking, foreshadowing type thing.
Good parallel, yeah.
Nothing happens from him getting the brick drop in the car. Like, it is just something that it's like, remember when that happened at the beginning of the fucking movie? Or do you forget because this movie is kind of pointless and you're not supposed to expect anything, But so if I were to change anything from the film, look, to be honest with you, I'm a burn it all down guy, right? I like when things happen. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If the older brother were to have like a mental break, and if they were to have like a fucking, because it's kind of like insinuating that the whole movie where this guy's losing it kind of thing. Yeah.
He talks he has a doctor be like, hey, something's clearly wrong with you. You're having panic attacks.
If the tiger attacked him, like if you watch the movie, there's this whole thing about the tiger. He has the tiger inside of him that doesn't allow him to sleep or whatever it is. It's just the whole metaphor of a tiger.
And he has to get like the girl with Down syndrome who lives below him to comfort him through a string and a string and a cup phone.
And also to highlight good parts of the movie, the audio for that was amazing. It sounded dope. Like the whole what it would actually sound like if you had like a cup with a string.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was very cool.
Maybe make her a little older because it's kind of creepy.
Yes,
but it's fine. But if something were to happen, if you were to either get killed by the tiger because it's just something he can't overcome, and it is kind of like that's more of like a character study type movie. I understand, but. If you were able to commentate on something in that way, maybe his class forced him to be in the fucking cage with the tiger. He gets a job at the zoo. I don't know. Anything, dude. Anything. If he were to, if these things were to get to his head enough and he were to do something, maybe even if the movie were to deviate for him to become, maybe they meet. Okay, sorry. Let me get my thoughts together. Maybe they meet the artist earlier in the movie. He gives him that fucking shitty, fuck you guys, I'm not signing anything moment, right? You still have that moment. He falls asleep, whatever. The brother goes on to become a leader of this protest, right? Which is probably iffy because you can't really change history. I understand.
Right.
Becomes a leader of a protest and then meets the artist later and is like, you could achieve something. You could achieve anything you want, basically, as long as you persevere. I don't know. Instead of it being so fucking like emo of like, don't expect to do anything, right? What the fuck are you trying to tell me? Like, don't expect anything?
It's not a great message.
If I'm doing DMT in the jungle, then for sure I'm not going to expect anything. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. If I'm going on an ayahuasca trip, maybe I should watch Gueros before.
Maybe.
But as far as like me trying to progress in life, telling me, especially when you have a dialogue on class, don't fucking tell me not to do anything or not to expect anything. I feel like my expectations should be changed. Moving forward, I shouldn't expect to be a lower class citizen that we just accept these names like Güero or whatever fucking bothers you, names that bother you. I don't expect that to be a normal thing in my life. So
right.
Those kind of expectations, maybe give us what should we expect then? I don't know. Fuck. This movie's a wash, dude. I hate it more now that you asked me to fix it.
Well, because I guess, and when I think about that, I don't have an answer to that question because I don't know if there's anything that you can do to fix this movie. I think it is what it is. It's deliberately alienating. Yeah. But it's also it's that class. It's like the quote from Blades of Glory that Kanye samples. It's nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of what the movie, it allows you to you get to put your own, you get to be in the head of whichever character you most resonate with. Yeah. Or you can just be somebody who's, in your case, it seems like you're one of those characters who's actively at the protest, who is on the periphery of this movie because it's focusing primarily on people who are sort of listless and don't know what to do. Yeah. And you wish that they were joining up a little bit more. And you're the guy in the car. You're the guy with the clapboard who's like, the script sucks. What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, dude. I'll take that role, dude. For real.
I think it's a fun role to be. The person who's like, yo, what the fuck, dude? Come on.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
And why break the fourth wall once? And out of nowhere. Nowhere.
Because art.
Because of art.
Because of art.
Fucking dumb, dude. And then there was another part I had an issue with, but that I felt like it could have been better than it was. When the team of guys comes in, the one guy jacks their car basically and forces them to go get beers with him.
Oh yeah.
They don't fucking drink the beer, which kind of takes me out of the stakes are gone immediately. When it's you don't feel forced to drink the beer when you're so scared of this guy.
Right.
But you're going to actively be defiant in front of him. It's it's counterintuitive to be so scared of this guy. One guy. There's 3 dudes in a car and they're scared of one guy. Anyway, sorry. What?
Anyway, I didn't have anything else to say to that. It was interesting that I thought it was interesting once they got out of the car and you see oh, this guy's kind of dumpy and they could totally take this guy.
Exactly. Exactly. My bad.
No, you don't have to apologize. I have a. Why are you apologizing for doing what I asked you to do on the podcast?
It's hilarious to me. It just makes no sense. You can easily just give him a wedgie and he'll fucking leave you alone, dude.
Oh, dude, yeah, you could totally give that guy a wedgie. He would be.
He'd be humiliated and probably go cry. He was such a little bitch, dude.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be scared of him and go wherever he wants to go and then not do what he says. That doesn't make sense to me. That line does not make sense.
When you have a tiger in your brain, sometimes you worry about other people too much and you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
If there's a movie that you think people should watch instead of Gueros, especially if they don't have, if they're on Canopy, I got plenty of recommendations if you don't think this movie is going to be up your alley, but what do you think people should watch instead?
I think for sure you should watch Gueros if you want to fucking get upset, or if you want to involve the discussions they bring to light and then don't do anything with. Mm-hmm. Anyways, But Ex Machina, that's the movie I downloaded the Canopy for, but also Mi Familia, the one I was discussing earlier.
I have to watch that movie now.
Great movie, dude.
I have to check I'm going to check that out.
It is a really good movie. I wouldn't say it's like, there is like, I guess, iconic scenes that I couldn't recall immediately because it has been like 6 or 7 months since I watched it. But the movie itself it's easy. It's an easy watch. It's like, it makes sense. You're allowed to expect things, and it's good. It's a good movie.
You just want to be allowed to expect things, don't you?
Yes.
You just want to be able to be like, this movie's going to be good, right? And then all of a sudden it is, and you're like, cool, mission accomplished.
I don't want a movie to make me contemplate whether living is worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. There's sometimes I want a movie like that, and sometimes I don't want a movie like that.
Exactly.
And you know what? It's probably why I'm going to watch Army of the Dead tonight.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I want to watch.
I haven't seen that yet either. It seems like it's Zack Snyder returning to not being so up his ass.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I was watching Irishman the other day. It's like my 4th time watching Irishman.
That's a lot of time spent watching The Irishman.
Yeah. Well,
but that's a great movie, though.
Yeah, exactly. The movie's amazing, and it gets something done with giving kind of the same message as Gueros. You know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think it kind of does. It definitely is not like as overtly. I mean, I have to watch it again because I've only seen it once and I can't really comment on how classist or not class-based the narrative of that movie is based on my one time watching it. But I did feel like it's a movie about aging and the way that we think about, our perception of ourselves and how others perceive ourselves, which also is a narrative that Gueros has for sure in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, clearly you are not going to be part of the Mexican Academy of Film Arts and Sciences anytime soon, which gave this movie 5 awards.
I love Mexican film. Like, there's other Mexican films I've seen, like Y Tu Mamá También, Motorcycle Diaries, Amores Perros. Those are great films.
Right. This one?
Gueros a little shakier on the on the recommendation. Yeah. Dominic,
for those of you who didn't pay attention, you listen. Gerardo just did a great like the cringe emoji face.
Dominic, never watch a movie. Dominic, I'm just kidding. No, Dominic Angel's a great guy. I will watch at least 2 more movies that he recommends, and if they're all the same, caliber, I'm going to question his recommendations.
Fair enough. That's how it goes. Well, I think I have a lot more to digest about this movie, especially after talking to it more and being impressed by the things that you thought were bullshit. So here we go. Listen, we're at an impasse, and this is just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Where can the listeners find you online if they decide to get a digital library card and nerd up and watch this movie and they're like, hey, what's your fucking problem? Where can they complain to you?
I have my Instagram is GELOLDO, Geloldo. My name with the LOL in the middle because I'm fucking witty, dude.
Yeah, dude. You're a comedian, dude. Did anyone know?
Yeah, right. I have to let you know every fucking step of the way. I have a podcast called Isimo, which is why we watched this movie. We talk about it. Oh, no, we don't actually talk about it on the podcast, but it gave us kind of like themes to talk about in an episode, which is called Film Isimo. Okay. We just talk about different Mexican American kind of themes, and it's a brand new podcast. We have 4 episodes out now. We recently discussed the Hot Cheetos scandal. I don't know if you heard about this.
Oh, dude, I heard a little bit about that. I got to read more about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. PepsiCo just put out a statement. It's a whole thing, dude.
God,
it's crazy.
Weren't they supposed to be making a biopic about the guy who invented Hot Cheetos? And now they're like, oh, God.
Yeah. They surrounded it in doubt. Yeah. They probably weren't getting enough money, so they just came out with some bullshit that white people made it. Anyways, it's called Isimo. You find it everywhere. It's fucking
crazy
amazing.
To think white people invented something spicy. Bullshit.
Yeah, right? They stole it from a Mexican community, if that's the case. Anyways. But I'm on Twitter, Geloldo. Everything Geloldo. GELOLDO.
Right on. Well, go check out all of Gerardo's stuff. And also follow him on TikTok for fucking great bits.
Yeah,
dude. The Cholo trilogy you posted there is fantastic. Phenomenal series of jokes. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And if you like the show, please tell a friend. There's my cat. You can subscribe to my Patreon to get bonus episodes that might also feature more cat sounds like what you just heard. And he's trying to stop this episode from recording. So I'm going to get off the air. But Gerardo, thanks again. It was great to have you on.
Dude, thank you, Jay. I've been looking forward to coming on here.
I feel so smart talking about this movie with you. It's such a nice change of pace from feeling like a dumbass all week at work.
Oh, man. I'm glad I can do that, dude.
Thank you. Guys, this has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.